Hello again. As you can see from your screen, you might figure out that I am in Putrajaya. If you don't, that's where I am. So today I'm going to be testing a very special bike, and it is the BMW HP4. But we have a very limited time with this bike. To be honest, it's around 5 hours of our test time, and on top of that we have only 100 kilometers to go with this bike. So to find out what I'll be talking about this machine, please stay tuned until the end of this vlog. Welcome to Malaysian Riders. Since the time that we have with this bike is too short, our production decided to record everything possible just to make sure that we have enough usable footage for this review. So now we have made ourselves clear, let's start with the technical point of view of this BMW HP4. The BMW HP4 is basically the same bike like its predecessor, the S1000RR. The only difference is that the HP4 is a low unit production with high performance parts that comes with it. It still retains the same engine which produces around 177 horsepower and the chassis that proves to be a successful design to the S1000. The major difference of the HP4 is the introduction of its electronics that proves to be the most sophisticated technology ever fitted onto a production bike. Well, at least that is true for now. The groundbreaking 15 levels of traction control and the dynamic damping control seems to be the main talking point of this bike. But since we have a very limited time with this mean machine, I'm quite rushed to test every bit of it. So I've set to test only the slick mode of this bike. And now comes the part where I actually ride the HP4. Amazing. The dynamic damping control really works. The suspension changes accordingly to the road surface and the rider's input. Ultimately, it gives me total confidence in turns and helps me focus on my throttle control in this epic slick mode. But it does need some familiarizing at first, and that will depend on each rider's preference. And since the HP4 shares the same platform with the S1000RR, I straight away felt right at home. But at the end of the day, the HP4, which price starts from 144,000 ringgit, is just something that is not a necessity. It's more towards a luxury or just a show-off from what BMW can achieve. Honestly speaking, after more than 3 hours of riding it, the bike felt very similar with its sibling the S1000, and then it shows how uninteresting this bike can be from a rider point of view. Well, of course, this opinion is limited towards the scope that I'm testing it. Sure, it can be elaborated more if I ever got a chance to take it to the track, where everything seems to be amplified to a larger magnitudes. You see, I've reached my limits of opinion with this bike. Yes, it's a good bike. Yes, I can say that it is even friendlier than the Panigale that I tested recently. But it lacks the excitement that the Ducati gives me while riding it. That feeling like it's going to kill you. There's just none of it here. So what's the point of spending so much that is practically similar to the S1000? Well, some people might not agree with me, but most of the riders here in Malaysia don't really go all blazing with their bikes on the road, and sometimes on the track too, because it's just expensive. Well then, what do I think of the HP4? It's a wonderful motorcycle, yes. The power delivery is smooth, the electronics is amazing to the point that I think the bike is even smarter than the rider at some point. The ride is predictable and it's easier to maintain trajectory while in a corner, but that depends on how far you're pushing it. Since I am not allowed to really push it up to the limit, so are my opinions. Therefore, I can't really give a conclusion for the bike as a whole. To me, it's a great motorcycle enhanced from a great platform, but lack the real world justification to itself. So I think It all depends on what kind of direction BMW will be taking from this working development. All I can say, there must be something highly positive for their upcoming model, and that is for us to see in the future. So, that's it for this particular review. Please apologize us as I think it is quite incomplete. But what should I say? 5 hours of testing time is not really enough for us to test it and film it. So let's hope there will be more of it in the future. And for that, please stay tuned with us and thank you for watching. Goodbye.